You know, listening to a retired military general speak so highly of Mr. Peter Obi on issue of security is something to ponder on, because a number of persons have questioned his pedigree to handle the issue of security. Would you say that the country would be in safe hands and the issue of security will be nipped in the bud under Mr. Peter Obi?
If what we did in Anambra State then, and what even the police confirmed, yes, it will. Because I can tell you that he will be in command and control, he will be available 24/7, he will be passionate. I won't even be surprised, I will not be surprised if he says, look, he will take charge of the defense ministry. I won't be surprised. Because at state level, but he was like the commissioner of defense in Anambra State. Yes, it will be secured in his hands.
Let me ask.
A few things I would like to take away from this interview. And number one is actually the journalist. I was so shocked about the journalist and then the question he was asking about Peter Obi's pedigree about solving the insecurity or insecurity. I was shocked because as a journalist, I felt that he should have known better that Peter Obi is actually the best among any of the candidates when it comes to security. So, because if there are things that Peter Obi should be giving credit to, it is security, education, healthcare, and pulling people out of poverty. So, for him to ask that question, I mean, it was so surprising, and it begins to ring in my head. Probably if you're doing well as a governor, maybe it is good that you go to the press, because I talk about Peter Obi because I saw his government. I witnessed his government as the governor of Anambra State. So I wasn't living in Anambra then, but I was always constantly coming to Anambra at that time. So I saw what he did firsthand. So I didn't need any media to, show me or to tell me what Peter Obi did. So, but for some Nigerians or some people to be trying to know what Peter Obi did in security when it was one of his best achievements, I mean, it was surprising and shocking. The number two, I would like us to look at what Enenche said, that General Enenche retired. Look at what he said about Peter Obi. And this is one thing that most security officers that worked with him, that testified about him, even when they had left office, one thing they kept saying, that Peter Obi was in command and in control. And they keep using those two words. They who are in the military or in the police or all those security agencies, they know what those two words mean for them, because they kept saying that Peter Obi was in command and he was in control. And so he went further to explain that Peter Obi will be available. And those things make a lot of sense. He was in command, he was in control, and he was also available. That shows you a man that was on top of his job. That shows you a man that knew what he was doing. He wasn't just sending the commissioner of police or the army generals or all those security operatives to just go without knowing what they were doing. He understood the function of being the chief security officer of the state. And I could see, which I believe you could also see, the general trying to emphasize how this man was on top of his job. So, and these things make the difference. We used to have a president that time, Buhari, would always say that he was not aware. I mean, even sometimes when a lot of atrocities would happen in Nigeria, and sometimes they will say that the president is not aware. I am not aware. At some point, it was as if "I'm not aware" was going to become his nickname, because he seemed not to be aware of whatever that was happening in Nigeria at that time. Even as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic, he wasn't aware of almost everything that was happening in Nigeria. But if you look at what this general is saying, Obi wasn't like that, and Obi is not going to be like that. Obi was aware, Obi demanded to be aware, Obi was involved, and Obi took decisive actions. Come to think about it again, we also have a sitting president who, what happened in Benue, it took him 48 hours. 48 hours. Even the Pope in faraway Rome had actually made a statement to concerning the what happened in Benue State. Yes, Pope far away in Rome had made a statement even before the sitting president. It took him 48 hours. And when he wrote what he wrote on his X account, he said that he has been briefed. So it took whoever that was briefing him 48 good hours to brief him. You can imagine such a thing. 48 good hours to brief Tinubu about what happened in Benue, few hours away from Abuja. I hope you know Benue to Abuja is not that far, but it took them 48 hours to brief him. And if you compare it to what this general is saying about Peter Obi, you know that you don't have to wait to 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours to brief Peter Obi. He needs to know. In fact, he will be there. That is from what this man is saying. Peter Obi will not even wait for whatever briefing. All of you are going to be there immediately, not this state visit that they are planning, because I hope you know that the issue of Tinubu's visit to Benue is no longer about condolence or mourning. It's now about state visits. So such things cannot be under Peter Obi. He would be aware. He was in charge. He was there. He knew what was going on. He was in command. He was in control. So having said that, having seen that, having heard such testimony from a general, an army officer of that caliber that worked with Peter Obi, what does that tell you? It tells you that under Peter Obi, Nigeria will be secure. That is what it just tells you, that all these things that we're having insecurity in Nigeria is actually a leadership problem, because they don't have the political will to deal with the insecurity in Nigeria. So, and that is why the issue of supporting Peter Obi becomes a national call. It becomes a call for every Nigerian that will join hands together and, by the grace of God, support this man with whatever capacity that we have to ensure that come 2027, we have a President Peter Obi in Aso Rock. And by God's grace, with what he did in Anambra in security, he brings such vigor and such wisdom, and working with our security experts, the insecurity in Nigeria will be reduced to the barest minimum. And Nigeria can indeed become a new Nigeria that we're clamoring for. And for those of us who are doubting about 2027, whether it is going to be like 2023, no, our leaders have told us that come 2027, it will not be business as usual. So clear all your doubts, clear whatever that might be in your mind that you are thinking it will not work. Come out, do your own duty, and let them do their own. Thank you for your time, and remember, a new Nigeria is possible. God bless you.